Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 𝗢𝗏𝗍 as we'll take a look at the fast-moving politics of India. Let's welcome 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 𝗢𝗏𝗍. 𝗥𝗘𝗙 ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskaram, namaskaram, Shree, namaskaram.
Jai Bholenath.
Bilkul sir, Jai Bholenath. Well, for this Saturday, we thought that we should look at some events that have not got enough attention. So we are looking at Nepal first. There are some interesting developments. Of course, nobody should conclude anything drastic is happening there. But the fact is, over 17 years now since the monarchy was abolished, and they have had 13 governments. You can imagine as many as 13 prime ministers. Governments have come and gone. Most of the time, these parties have been trying to form coalition, then splitting the coalition, forming new coalition. Now, against this context where governance has severely been hampered, that is a time when what has happened is people are beginning to feel restless, and they are also beginning to see, this. Because there are three thoughts going on in many Nepalese mind. One, things were better under monarchy. There is a section that feels. The second group is one which says, no, don't ever think of return of monarchy, the Hindu monarchy. Things are okay. Things have not gone worse. If things have not gone worse, then things are okay. This is one set of thinking. The third is definitely things are not okay. But that doesn't mean return to monarchy. Rather, we should try to improve things. Right now, you have a prime minister under 𝗪𝗡𝗄𝗏 who is running a coalition of Nepalese Congress and the Communist Party of Nepal, United Marxist-Leninists, that is UML group. And what happened is, why is this focus come? Because on March 9th, Sir, King 𝗤𝗏𝗏, rather the deposed King 𝗤𝗏𝗏, returned from Pokhran. And when he arrived in Kathmandu, there was a huge crowd. I mean, some people say it was quite impressive by Kathmandu standards to welcome him. And this whole thing was organized by the Rashtriya Prajatantric Party, RPP, which is a party which during the monarchy was running the panchayats. And in that, this procession was long and there were slogans in praise of 𝗤𝗏𝗏. And also in the crowd, we saw a picture of our Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath also. And here we can see the, suddenly, this kind of crowd has never been there for a deposed king. So obviously, many observers and analysts are wondering what's happening there. Are people so frustrated even for this number of people to gather and welcome a deposed king? Is itself a very, very pleasant surprise. And this was on March 9th. And most of these people are considered as pro-royalist. In other words, pro-monarchy. And you can see that he is, standing and waving to his crowds. I mean, this is no politician is getting that kind of traction. But this also shows, because after that, people have interviewed common folks to find out what exactly is happening. Because, sir, Nepal abolished monarchy, and along with that, it also abolished the Hindu tag. Nepal went secular. And over the years, we have seen in the last 17 years, Nepal has been hotbed of, I would say, many international agencies, including the most nefarious agency across our western border. We also know once a plane was hijacked. And then it was on a flight to Kathmandu. So this Kathmandu is Nepal is in fact as seen as a gateway. And then the other thing that we have seen is that Nepal has been slipping into a financial crisis, into a deep debt. largely because it has to service for some of the projects which the China has been giving them a lot of money and putting them under a deadlock. Of course, India has kept its engagement with Nepal. But the question we are asking tonight is, now whether this participation of crowd for Gyanendra, which has immediately received attention, is it anything serious, or is Gyanendra having other plans? See, he himself is not seeking return of monarchy. He himself is not saying anything in support of what happened. And King Gyanendra, sir, he took assumed power after his brother King Birendra was massacred in a palace intrigue by his own son. Some people said it was over a love affair, and that particular episode was a very, very I would say most shocking incident, when entire family was wiped out and Gyanendra was saved. So, and Gyanendra is a grandson of King 𝗏𝗏, who was a very, very popular king. Now, Maharaja of Nepal. Now, just for to rejig our memory, Nepal has been plagued by poverty that drives millions of its citizens to seek job in the neighboring countries, particularly in India. And Nepal is also infamous for illegal trafficking of women who end up in brothels, different parts of the city, and also for labor, and which has also resulted in many cases of exploitation. And it has engaged our social workers there. But the last few years, we all believe that with the start of a parliamentary democracy, with a republican form of government there, things would change. But obviously, these are not happening. And well, I think I'm willing to suspect that Gyanendra has got some deep plans. It's possible when the next round of elections are held, or whether if this coalition is not able to manage, there are fresh elections. And of course, some people, our secular friends, are saying, no, this is all egged on by India. India is doing this. Why is Yogi poster being shown there? What is the reason for Yogi's poster? Of course, Gyanendra has often been meeting Yogi Adityanath, because of the fact that here you can see that poster which was carried in that March 9th rally. And Gyanendra knows Yogi very well, and they are supposed to be good acquaintances. And Gyanendra often meets Yogi Adityanath, it's no secret. But beyond that, there is no extra territorial ideas being given by Yogi or anyone. But of course, Vishwa Hindu Parishad has often been saying that the abolition of monarchy and abolition of Hindu being the world's the only Hindu kingdom, and replacing it with secular democracy was not an act in the interest of Hindus. It was not. It was done by inimical groups, because after all, it happened after the revolution came. So initially, what started as a Jan Andolan in 1990, and that ultimately led to a situation, this multi-party system. And in 1996, Nepal, because of this Jan Andolan and all that, in fact, it saw armed insurgents. That the Maoists took up arms, and for 10 years there was a lot of bloodshed, a lot of killing, and this was under the banner of Communist Party of Nepal, Maoists, CP and Maoists, and they were pressing for a constituent assembly, for a new constitution. Then ultimately there was a comprehensive peace agreement. Even the writing of the constitution itself of Nepal was itself a long drawn process. It was so difficult with so many parties trying to satisfy them. And finally there was an agreement between the 7-party alliance and CP and Maoist. And that finally led to the abolition of monarchy in May 28th of 2008. And with that also, Nepal was declared a secular country. Now, it took almost 7 years after 2008. That's only in 2015 a new constitution came, despite there were several disagreements over provisions of the constitution. And the coalition era, 17 years, 13 governments, 13 prime ministers, it has not been, of course, people who say that, look, those who are trying to see a return of monarchy, they are mistaking the woods for trees. Because even the 𝗟𝗡𝗏 Prajatantra Party in the last election secured only 6% of votes. And they won only 14 seats in a 275-member house. So that's a very small number. So no big deal. I mean, this is not a very big thing happening there. But definitely, whatever happens in Nepal does bother us in terms of our security, in terms of the fact that lack of governance there has often resulted in more and more people coming here. I mean, the population pressure that is building up here. Of course, Nepalese who have come, there is no bar because we have an open border. People can come here, we can go there. And of course, we have been recruiting Gorkhas in the army for some time. But ever since this, the new recruitment policy came, the 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗏, the Nepalese government, discouraged any recruitment. Of course, we have Government of India, Government of Nepal have been engaged on this issue, and attempts have been made to convince them. But that's one aspect. But also the fact remains that today, I think whether it is the extreme left or the radical left or even other parties have realized that doing business with China is not easy. And it is fraught with the problems that Sri Lanka saw. Now Bangladesh is seeing. So two of our neighbors, both Bangladesh also, what has happened finally. Bangladesh, I will say, is a classic case. What happens if NGOs take over government? And even now, the whole idea is the established political parties are seeking early election. But Mohammed Yunus says, and the students have now formed a party. They are saying, no, the constitution has to be written first. Now the established parties are saying, who are the students to decide, who are political parties to decide what constitution? It's only the parliament or the National Assembly can decide. So I think we need to look at Nepal and developments happening in Nepal as well as what is happening in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh, we have seen what has happened after Sheikh Hasina was deposed. Now, there might have been local reasons and history of problems between Awami League and Khalida Zia's party and the Jamaat, and all those pro-Pakistan elements became very active, and they are now still active. And then there was 2 days ago, sir, the Bangladesh Inter-Services Public Relations Department issued a denial to a story that appeared in one of the Indian media outlets that there was an attempted coup against the current army chief. But somehow Indian agencies came to the aid of the Bangladesh army chief and prevented that from happening, because that would have led to greater chaos and takeover by all the hardline Islamist elements. This is what is being said. So as I said earlier, sir, it is the three questions that will always come is, Nepalese are realizing, some Nepalese definitely are seeing that at least there was more order under monarchy. Things were not that bad, though poverty has been a persistent problem. And of course, the second, the established parties who are now the status quoists, they are saying, no, we are making incremental changes. And the third people, the third say, yes, a lot could have been done, but we've spent so many years, bickering. So that's the Nepal situation, sir. Shree Iyer ji.
Thank you so much, Shekhar ji. See, one of the challenges for Nepal and for Sri Lanka and to some extent Bangladesh also, is they don't have a cash cow in that country that they can say, okay, we produce this is uniquely produced here, we have a global market for this, and this sustains our economy. Nepal and Sri Lanka both, they depend on tourism, and in the tourism, whether they like to accept it or not, 70% or somewhere in that number is tourism from India. Kathmandu had casinos or has casinos, which they don't, India doesn't allow casinos as far as I can remember, except maybe in the state of Goa. So what happens is when you when you don't have good relations with your biggest contributor to your economy, then your economy goes south. And who caused this to happen? It's not like the Nepalis woke up one day morning and say, I'm going to hate Indians today. It was basically because of China putting money in, and with the condition that you have to do this. And this is very, very well known. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗪 is supposed to have been, taken care of by a very, I'm trying to use the right word here, very attractive, maybe, Chinese ambassador. The said Chinese ambassador also was seen partying with our Prince, Rahul Gandhi, in Kathmandu, in a club. There are pictures of both of them. So there is a trend here. And people need to understand this thing and don't react to what happens on the ground. Always India comes to the help. See, after all the abuse, India is still giving thousands of tons of rice and other essential commodities to Bangladesh. Even though they have run up the electricity bill, they are still providing electricity to Bangladesh. And in return, what do? The extremist elements go on, they are murdering and burning Hindu households. My point in saying all this, Shekharji, is somewhere the messaging for the other side also needs to go home loudly. Because if somebody is being kind to you, and if you kick that, then you have nothing to stand on. Like, for example, you said that Nepalese government did not want Nepalis partaking in the army. Whose loss is it? So they don't have a job in Nepal. So the 𝗦𝗲𝗿, they call it Madhesh. 𝗦𝗲𝗿 is the area that is between Indian border and the hills, where the hoi polloi, or the what I would call the bourgeois, live of Nepal. They tried to treat them as second-class citizens in the constitution. India had to step in and say, you can't do that. My point in saying all this is somewhere somebody is keying them, giving them key. And this 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗪 is a big phony, fraud. And I hope people understand, people of Nepal understand. Indians are with you, but don't abuse Hinduism. This is your religion too. You are a Hindu Rashtra. You are the last Hindu Rashtra. We also made a screw-up mistake. You also are doing the same thing. Please don't. And it took so many years for India to right itself, at least to some extent. Just my two humble, 2 cents. I'm humbly requesting, please understand what's going on. Don't decide these things on emotion, is all I'm saying. Sir, Shekharji, sorry, we'll go to the next one, which is equally emotive. Pawan Kalyan versus M.K. Stalin over Hindi. Over to you, sir.
Well, sir, Pawan Kalyan, has said something that we probably would have wanted to say, but then he has said it in a very, very forceful manner. He says, look at the hypocrisy of this whole bunch of political leaders in Tamil Nadu. I mean, referring to the ruling DMK, which has hand in pie in the film world also. That, I mean, he said, look, new education policy, I mean, Hindi, and then trying to oppose Hindi. What is all this? You get all your Tamil films dubbed in Hindi for commercial reasons. You make, you collect crores when they are, and of late, the movies were made in South India have been making it big. And all those, including actor Vijay's films that are, which are under the banner of Udayanidhi Stalin owned companies, they all are dubbed in Hindi and ultimately make it to the national circuit. So he says that is all right. For commercial reasons, you do Hindi. And who is imposing Hindi? Sir, Pawan Kalyan's statement comes after Chandrababu's statement. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, he had also said, what is harm in getting to know more languages? And he said, it's only for multi skills. And Chandrababu Naidu always been ahead of time, sir. One thing you must give it to him. He's the one who always talked of economic reforms. He talked of IT parks. And he has always been in the forefront of ushering in change before the change is forced on you. So he said, and Stalin has invited him also for the March 22nd meeting in Chennai, where all opposition CMs and other leaders have been called for the purpose of opposing delimitation. And delimitation, which he fears it will be loss of seats for southern India, because southern India has been good at population control. So any formula based on that is now obviously Chandrababu is not enamored by what Stalin says, and today the manner in which the DMK has retaliated to Pawan Kalyan, saying that you were not even born when we started the India agitation, you have a zero knowledge, and giving support to the DMK leaders was our Prakash Raj, actor Prakash Raj of Karnataka, who is a great lover of Congress, secularism, and he even contested elections. It's another story. He could not win the elections from Bangalore, I think South Bangalore. That was in 2019 election, if I remember. And so he says there is a difference between speaking against imposition of a language and opposing Hindi. Sir, they have been at pain ever since this controversy has assumed, gigantic proportions. The DMK leaders, including Stalin, have been trying, no, we are not against Hindi, we are against Hindi opposition. And here they say, from the government side, from the BJP side, and many leaders, even in Tamil Nadu, people say, where is the imposition? The 1968 education policy had Hindi. But this policy, it says 2 Indian languages apart from English. But that is one element of NEP. It is not. NEP has several ideas. And also this PM Sree schools. These are supposed to be model schools. These are entire new concepts that you create hundreds of schools in the backward areas, in tribal areas, in areas where the scheduled castes live. You create schools, give them facilities, bring IT there, bring new tools of education. But it's basically an innovative approach. But in Tamil Nadu, he says, no, it has served us well. 2 languages have served us well. In the north, they are not learning extra language. And you have seen, sir, very funny discussions going on in Tamil Nadu, where people are asking, why all the ministers' sons, they are learning, one minister's son is learning English, French, and Spanish, not even Tamil. And many ministers, DMK ministers, are running schools where 3 language, 5 language, even 4 languages are being taught. But it is very clear by now, sir, like the way they created ruckus in parliament, the way they tried to show, and then, of course, 𝗪𝗏𝗏 lost his cool and said, what is this uncivilized behavior in parliament, which they converted to an accusation that 𝗪𝗏𝗏 had said that Tamils are uncivilized. Sir, after that, you can see, sir, after that, they also, you must hear what 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 said. And he did not get heavily tracked in the north, but he made a statement that would, it would really cause a lot of outrage. He said, look, what civilization? They northerners are like pigs. 5 men marry 1 woman. And earlier, sir, 2-3 years ago, you saw the higher education minister, then it was Ponmudi saying, look, what is the point in learning Hindi? All those who learnt Hindi, speak Hindi, come here and sell only panipuris. And now, I mean, this is the approach, this is the attitude, and this is being stoked. Now it's very clear, sir. For instance, the change of symbol in the budget document from the established rupee symbol to made it into Tamil Ru for Rubai. And that I mean, the whole idea seems to be, as I see, that DMK leadership has decided that in the run-up to the election, we'll keep doing things which will appear like defense, will appear like we can provoke the center and let them dare to act on us. And then if there is outrage in the rest of the country, then show it as, oh, look how they are treating us, how they are abusing us. Then play the victim card. So appearing to be defiant, then playing the victim. And in the budget, they said, no, now we don't need the money. We will provide that. Sir, whatever it is, the money was for those schools that will come up, the PM Shree schools. But what 𝗟𝗏𝗏 Pradhan said on the floor of the House, he said, look, you have, he said, you people came here, you held discussion in March. You even wrote a letter to us saying that you are about to sign an MOU. Then some super chief minister said, no, don't. So who is that super chief minister? Sir, in Tamil Nadu these days, if there is a rape incident in a university, people are asking, yaar and sir, who is that sir? With whom the accused was connected or linked or allegedly linked. Or here they say, who is this super chief minister? We all know who is the super chief minister who hopes to become chief minister after the elections. Now, they are building this up, but my constant question is, can the DMK manage to keep up this momentum? Now, delimitation, people have lost, sir, the other opposition parties are not interested. For a simple reason, sir, the parties from the north, either 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗏𝗍 Yadav or 𝗏𝗏𝗪 Yadav or Sharad Pawar or any, how are they bothered about this? And their question is, what has happened now that Tamil Nadu should be so alarmed? Okay, we have already said you cannot use education, but then we all know, sir, the process is after 2026, because the constitutional provision that put off this whole delimitation says that a delimitation will take place on the basis of a census. And after a census is done, which we think it may happen, it may start in 2026 and it may take more than a year. After the census work is done, figures are collated, then a delimitation commission will be set up. That commission will consist of experts who will go all over the country, visit every state, engage the state governments, will engage various stakeholders, and finally will make a recommendation on the basis of which some formula will be evolved. This is going to be a long-drawn process. This is not something that's going to happen before the Tamil Nadu Assembly elections, which are due in April, May. So why Stalin and other DMK leaders are hoping that you just rake this up and you can keep going, you can keep the tempo? And determination is not a thing that a common man on the street will understand in Tamil Nadu. Why in India, anywhere? Why only Tamil Nadu? But then they want to build it up and to keep it going. But Pawan Kalyan's statement today, sir, which I think our editor can play it for our audience. And I think that's very interesting to hear. And by the way, Pawan Kalyan knows Hindi. He knows Tamil also.
మాట్లాడితే సంస్కృతాన్ని తిడతారు, హిందీని మీరు రుద్దుతున్నారు, సౌత్లో దక్షిణాదిని అంటారు. అన్ని దేశ భాషలే కదా. మన తమిళనాడులో తమిళ్ హిందీ రాకూడదు అంటుంటే నాకు అనిపించింది మనసులో ఒకటే, అప్పుడు తమిళ సినిమాల్ని హిందీలోకి డబ్ చేయకండి. డబ్బులేమో హిందీ నుంచి కావాలి, ఉత్తరప్రదేశ్ నుంచి డబ్బులు కావాలి, బీహార్ నుంచి డబ్బులు కావాలి, ఛత్తీస్గఢ్ నుంచి డబ్బులు కావాలి, కానీ హిందీ మాకు వద్దంటే అది న్యాయం. పనిచేసే వాళ్ళందరూ మనకి బీహార్ నుంచి రావాలి, కానీ హిందీని ద్వేషిస్తానంటే ఎట్లా? ఇవన్నీ మారాలి కదా. అందుకని భాషల్ని ద్వేషించాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు.
Sir, Pawan Kalyan is saying that why are you pitting one language against another? I mean, largely echoing what the Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu also said. But then he has gone little ahead. And you know, sir, what is the DMK spokesperson reaction to this? That Pawan Kalyan is looking, he's trying to please BJP bosses. Pawan Kalyan is trying to please the Prime Minister. But he's very forceful in what he's saying. Basically saying, what is this nonsense? You are started this and trying to make out Tamil pride is involved as if everybody's against Tamil. Sir, this Pawan Kalyan statement is important because it tears apart this Stalin's efforts trying to make a South Indian, confederation against this whole education policy. Already, sir, Kerala Chief Minister has made, they have not said anything against the new education policy. Neither has 𝗟𝗏𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗧𝗏 of Karnataka. And Kerala Education Minister said, look, there should be no Hindi imposition. No, nobody will say Hindi should be imposed. And Amit Shah has been making it clear in several, interactions he has had in Parliament, even with our media friends. Look, we don't want to do that. We don't. This is the education policy is not about that new education policy. So one thing is clear, sir. Delimitation you are going to see on March 22nd, but already you are seeing Stalin, who feels that Hindi will become an issue. Sir, everybody, whether it is Mamata, everybody is making the same generic statement, look, Hindi should not be imposed. But beyond that, nobody is going to give him support. And then he had already made a huge mistake by trying to say that Hindi swallowed up all dialects, which is not true. Whether in Bihar or in other places, sir, people are not having problems because of Hindi.
Sir, there is, it's not only one place. This is happening all across India. There were 20,000 languages at one point of time. And depending upon how the flow goes, some things will go up, some things will go down. If there is a poet in Awadhi who comes out and writes some great poetry, it will revive that language 100%. My point is, those of us who are concerned that a particular thing is, not getting the attention it deserves, you need to find the gems among that community and see if that can make a difference. That's all I'm saying. All languages are great. They all derive from one big root, which is Prakriti, if you want, or Sanskrit, because they're all, again, Prakrit got refined into Sanskrit. Sanskrit means refined language. And they're all coming from the same big root. No difference. It's just the way you say some words, some use of some new words. And that's the beauty of that language, and we should cherish it. 10 languages that Chandrababu Naidu says is a great idea, because I speak many languages and I love it. And when I'm in Bengaluru, I unload on the taxi driver from the moment I get into the car. Poor guy doesn't know what to do. Savari is speaking bad Kannada, but I just keep going. It takes some time to get adjusted to the local accent also and lingo also. So, I mean, sir, solpa English nalli matadri. I hope he doesn't come. So far, nobody has said that. That means please talk to me in English. Don't kill Kannada. I try to see, everybody appreciates it. Somebody comes from abroad and starts speaking your language, they appreciate it, because there's that love for the language. Point is, don't use language as a political tool. And another thing I wanted to add, viewers, you are in full flow with Prakash Raj. There are two actors from the South who are good actors and terrible politicians. One is Prakash Raj, the other is Kamal Haasan. I don't know why they have this feeling that they need to get into politics, because they have been significant failures, yet they persist in this. Sir, over to you.
Sir, first, Kamal Haasan is going to become Rajya Sabha member, sir, coming July. And he hopes, and he has already tried to, get a guarantee, because he was promised he would be made a Rajya Sabha. Sir, the party, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗍𝗍, the party has gone for a toss. They lost deposits in the last assembly election. Since then, Kamal Haasan has been playing the DMK tune. And this time they have told him, you campaign for us in the next year's assembly election. In July, vacancies are coming. Rajya Sabha, he will become. Now, Mohan Raj, I think he was very much attracted to Rahul Gandhi and the Congress. But to his misfortune, I would say, nothing has happened. I mean, Congress, maybe he would have also. Sir, you spoke about Awadh language, Awadhi. That if there is a, sir, we all know one particular prayer in Awadhi language in praise of Lord Hanuman,
Yes.
which is chanted from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, sir, from Dwarka to one can say Jorhat. It's such a popular hymn, Hanuman Chalisa.
Yes.
Such a powerful also. People chant it, sir. And today being Saturday, I mean, I'm rather inspired to say that this is a very good example of how that barrier is. There is no barrier.
Right.
Sir, and Hanuman Chalisa has been rendered by so many people, including 𝗏 Subbulakshmi.
Right.
So many singers have rendered it in their own style. 𝗏 Subbulakshmi's Hanuman Chalisa is also very popular. So there are others. And they each have followed it their own style, and all of them are popular. Sir, in YouTube, you will find they have the maximum hits. So where language is not an issue, but it is clear, sir. Sir, if DMK could have, come up with reasonable arguments without driven by the desire to use this as a tool, because it's an old time tested tool. They have always done it. And to use it again and again, and sir, my worry is because generally people in the north think of good of the people of the south. And sir, and particularly, sir, in Delhi, where I am right now residing, and where I've been here for the last more than 40 years, and I've seen there is a lot of goodwill for South Indians. And sir, when the Sri Lanka Tamil crisis happened, when Tamils came here, there was a lot of sympathy for Tamils. Of course, then the Rajiv Gandhi assassination happened. People were upset. Why did the Tamil Tigers do this to Rajiv Gandhi? They were very upset. Now again, sir, the fear is coming that this again DMK is resorting to the old style, and a sense of alienation. They are saying this is being deliberately done. Sir, the other side of the argument is why none of the North Indians learn another language. They want everybody to know Hindi. They speak only in Hindi. Yes, I know, sir. Many this is a problem faced by delegates coming to Delhi or other places. In all India, conferences are held. Whether of educational people or others, educationists come. Many conferences. This couplet is there that many of the proceedings are conducted in Hindi, knowing very well that this is an all India. Now these are, I would say, some insensitive, because if you are calling people all over and they are not able to follow what is being said, at least there should be provision for simultaneous interpretation, or somebody should be there to translate it. But this is not happened in, I would say, in many conferences, in many seminars, and where people from the south feel, and many of them they may know a smattering of Hindi, but they cannot follow a full, a serious discussion in Hindi. So there is an attempt, and people feel that many BJP leaders are more comfortable in Hindi and they don't make any effort to even speak in English, and don't even realize that. But at least Prime Minister is not like that. Prime Minister Modi has always made it to speak, wherever possible, he speaks in English. And he also apologizes. But somehow I think other ministers are not following this. Sir, when we talk here, we are also addressing the sensitivities of our South Indian friends. Because there is a problem. Where when they come here and, in conferences of the government of India, the people come, ministers talk, others also just talk in Hindi and go. If in the audience, sir, this is pure courtesy. I mean, if you have in the audience people who do not follow Hindi or English, I mean, arrangement should be made to accordingly address it. That's all. But the people of Tamil Nadu should not be bothered about whether the people in the north learn a language or not. Because, you see, if you learn a language, it's a tool in your hands. It's going to help you. And besides, it is being taught in all the... But this tactics adopted by DMK is purely because of elections. And they have probably realized there is nothing to go to the people with, to be proud of one's achievements. Because there are two... And, sir, the latest thing that has happened, I mean, the Enforcement Directorate raiding TASMAC offices, that is Tamil Nadu Marketing Corporation, which is the agency that procures and sells liquor in Tamil Nadu, like the one in Chhattisgarh, and also in Delhi, till Kejriwal tinkered with the excise policy and got into massive trouble and massive corruption. In TASMA has been known as a cash cow in Tamil Nadu. Ever since Jayalalitha gave the TASMA the charge of buying and selling liquor. Sir, the latest disclosures that have come following ED's raids are very shocking. I mean, preliminary figures are 1,000, but it could 1,000 crores. It could be more, sir.
Oh, much more, sir. Much more. In fact, sir, in the morning we had a very long discussion about this. Excuse me, with Sriram Seshadri, sir. So our viewers can get the actual details from there. Sir, you can summarize it and then we can move on.
Yes, sir. I mean, the whole thing that is coming out is there were two parallel way of, procuring and marketing liquor in Tamil Nadu. One was officially shown in the books, other was not shown in the books. And the money was laundered to by the officials of TASMA, obviously at the behest of their political masters. And even today, what is officially shown is 45,000 crores. People are easily concluding at least 30,000 crores. And you remember, sir, a very bright DMK minister, 𝗤𝗏𝗏 had said it initially when he was a finance minister. He said that in terms of revenue, at least 20-30 crores are not coming to us. Probably he had, and that was a conversation that was leaked, where he said 30,000 crores they are making. And sir, this is the only tip of the iceberg. And sir, a central agency, a central government law enforcement agency is raiding a state undertaking. The similar thing they discovered in Chhattisgarh also. That Chhattisgarh Marketing Corporation banner was used to procure liquor from the distilleries to bottling plants to retail outlets. And that money was not shown in so state government was incurring a loss. Same pattern, that was a 4,000 crore scam, in which today the ED has reached the doors of former Congress Chief Minister Bhupesh Bagel's son, Chaitanya Baghel. And here, we know what happened in Delhi. Excise policy was tweaked. It was supposed to be handed over entirely to the private operators and liquor manufacturers. The Kejriwal wanted to convert the whole Delhi into a free-flowing liquor zone. And they were willing to even amend laws, rules, where you can open in any neighborhood when there are very specific restrictions as to you cannot have it from a few kilometers from a school, from a place of worship. All that was thrown away. They said we want to make it such a way that people can, it's kind of it can be like a coffee kiosk. But this is really bothering the DMK leadership, and they have not commented on this. Stalin is silent on this. Otherwise, they would have gone to town and saying, "Sir, we already know the TASMA employees. Sir, half of them have become alcoholics." And the state government is even at thought of running a de-addiction camps for them. Because anyway, I mean, they would show many of the bottles as damaged goods, and then they would take it home and cut it away and became alcoholic. Addictions. Now, some of them, sir, already the complaint in Tamil Nadu is for a bottle you pay 40 rupees more than what is written as a MRP. And that money, we were told, was collected by the political bosses. Apart from that, here what we are hearing is a separate procurement and using some money, and that money was not shown. The revenue generated is not at all shown in the books. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And let's wait and see how this goes. We have one more topic to go. So let's finish it in 5 minutes if you don't mind, because we still have questions to also take on the Karnataka Muslim quota, sir.
Yes, sir. Finally, they wanted to give 4% job reservation for Muslims in Karnataka, because that was promised in the Congress manifesto. Finally, what they have done is they have tweaked the what is called Karnataka Transparency in Public Procurement Act of 1999. They have amended the clause and included what section 2B. Category 2B, and category 2B concerns Muslims. That up to 1 crore, and that will be hardly 1% will be reserved. Now, the idea is not whether it is 1% or 2% or 3% or 4%. But somehow the idea is to go against the constitution, which completely forbids any quota on religious grounds. You saw it, Andhra trying it out, then High Court striking it down. And now again, this attempt has been made, saying, no, we are included. And today, and this was mentioned in 𝗔𝗍𝗪𝗍𝗍 budget, and today they have given effect to this change they have brought. Now, and he is saying, no, D.K. Shivakumar tried, no, it is not only for Muslim, it's for all minorities. So will Jains be entitled to this? That clarity is not there. And 𝗔𝗍𝗪𝗍𝗍 has allocated 42,000 crores either for SC, ST and others. But it is not, there is no clarity. But definitely on a principle. And what is this reservation for? This is a reservation will be given in procurement of goods and services by Karnataka government, by government departments, institutions, in the supplies that they seek. Because minority organizations wanted 4% in the contract works for Muslims. That in whatever government contract you give 4%. And which is there, similarly some provision is there for the case of SC, STs. Now, somehow again and again the Congress wants to get into that, policy that will show peak appeasement, notwithstanding the consequences. This is like, somehow you want to bring a backdoor, proportional representation that happened during the British colonial era. And we know the consequences of that. Now here again, the attempt is, it's only 1%, it's only 1 crore, it's only 2 crore. But this is, that is why BJP has taken it up in a big way, and there are protests happening already. There are several marginalized sections who are not in business. Why don't you encourage them? Sir, I remember when 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗍 was Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, in the undivided Madhya Pradesh, he went in for what was called the Bhopal Declaration, where it was said that affirmative action would be made to encourage entrepreneurs from the Dalit community, from the tribal community. That instead of just giving them jobs, let us also encourage them to enter into business. That's a good concept. But where you bring in religion, I think it is problematic. There are difficulties. Nobody is saying that any section should be kept out because they belong to that section. That would be very unfair. But at the same time, why this political messaging? And all this is happening at a time, sir. Today, the hot topic of discussion is, why is Rahul again and again going to Vietnam? Earlier it was London, then it became Dubai. For second time, he has gone to Vietnam. What is there in Vietnam? Some people are saying, no, this Vietnam trips have to do with major things happening in Vietnam. When there is a defense team in Vietnam, he went there. Now big captains of industry are coming to Vietnam. Is there any link? And what is at Congress has not been officially tweeting about his trip. And of course, sir, Arvind, if people are wondering where is Kejriwal, he is into deep vipassana in Punjab. Sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's take a quick look at some questions. See, Vietnam is another protectorate of China. Cambodia and Vietnam both are protectorates of China because they are more or less communist. But Vietnam also allows a lot of the companies to just drive across the border from China into Vietnam and set up ancillary factories there. And there is a tangle. Wait for what Trump decides to do against Vietnam by way of tariff. Then you will know that it's actually Chinese products by another name called Made in Vietnam. And that if that happens, then we know what happens. Let's take a look at some questions, sir. Thank you, Kabir Malkani. Thank you, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Why is the Maha opposition so rattled about special public security bill? Fadnavis has made it clear that it was meant to counter urban Naxalism.
So the fear is simple. All these parties have been encouraging such forces. And their worry is that because at this time, Fadnavis, though he is heading a government that consists of coalition, involving the BJP, 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗥𝗏𝗍𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 party and Ajit Pawar's party. The fear is that once the new law comes, many of our benefactors, our patrons who are indulging in all kinds of activities, they will come under scrutiny. That's the main reason. Parties are more worried about their security than public security, sir.
Next one, please. Mangan Ranga wants to know, Namaskaram. Disturbing move by DMK on the rupee symbol. What are the options that GOI has, given that the symbol probably does have legal strength on its usage?
Sir, they have chosen this in a manner where I don't think immediately a legal action is possible. But already the first reaction has come from the government at that level of Finance Minister 𝗪𝗪𝗡 𝗍𝗏𝗏. She said this is a direct move to encourage secessionist ideas in Tamil Nadu in the name of Tamil nationalism. Now, Ru by Ru is no big deal. It's already used, but your budget document, just as a dollar has a particular symbol, euros as a symbol, yen as a symbol, yuan as a symbol.
Next one, please. Yeah. Sorry, sir. You wanted to finish the thought. I thought you were done. Please.
What I was saying was, as I said, no, these are attempts to show they are defiant, attempts to encourage those nationalist elements. Elements that believe they are speaking for Tamil nationalism, but actually are into, I would say, in a lot of activities that could border on terrorism.
Next one, please. Venkatesan K wants to know, good evening, sirs. Are the people of Nepal not realizing that Hinduism is the best way of life?
Well, sir, Nepalese are devout Hindus. There is no doubt about it. Not only, and Nepal is land of not just Buddhism, but also, not just Hinduism, but Buddhism also. And it has among the 108 𝗖𝗎𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Some are located in Nepal. People go from south to visit those 𝗖𝗎𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, particularly Vaishnavites. They go there. So they already, but definitely there is a feeling, a sense that all these things that happened so fast, abolition of monarchy, and then removing the tag of that being a Hindu kingdom, largely motivated by the leftist ideas and communist ideas and Maoist drive. But all that is fine, sir. But at the end of the day, have they got good governance? No. Things are getting worse and worse. And Nepal is already in a debt trap. So,
Next one, please. Thank you, 𝗏𝗏443. Should India go for fencing along the Nepal border?
no, sir, the border is such that there cannot be fencing because of the terrain. And there has been free flow of people. I mean, particularly, from Nepal borders, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. I mean, there is a free, that is not necessary, but at the same time, definitely our security agencies have stepped up vigilance along these borders. You already have a SSB, Special Security Bureau. It has got several personnels deployed in these areas. Because our worry is Nepal is also a place where the ISI has been very active. There have been other international agencies and Chinese agencies have also been very active in Nepal. Sir.
Very true, sir. And see, this is all basically who you elect as your politicians. These people become honey trapped, compromised in one way or the other, and then think the country goes downhill. And China has had a standard template that they have used. And that is, you are seeing the consequences of some of that stuff. And people have to understand that many others are well-meaning. They want you to understand the truth rather than just try to, listen to the local. Don't get passionate about politics. When you are voting, when you are deciding in your life, don't let emotions come into the picture. You have to have a very clear head has to be there. That's what decides. And you need to have that benefit of, able to look at the same thing from different angles. That will help you. This is just my 2 cents. I keep saying this. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿, today's topic was very interesting because some things that you brought out today are things that perhaps, especially people from even Tamil Nadu, they need to understand that this is actually an imposition, forcing you to not learn other languages. That is also an imposition on you. You are being shackled.
Very well said. Very well said, sir. Very well said.
Yeah.
That this is also an imposition. It's a very, very interesting.
So please understand that is what they are trying to do. They want to keep you shackled. They want you to be always, in their grip. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.